Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Lamp. I'm your host, James Lampkin, and my guest today is a singer, songwriter, and the host of Conversations Inside the Music. Miss Carol Riddick, thank you for joining me.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for the invitation.
It's an honor. It's funny because my wife introduced me to your music. I don't know what year it was. She always sending me something. So
Well, listen, please tell her that I said thank you. How about
yeah, I'll
that?
make sure hopefully she'll listen. Sometimes she listens to my podcast. Sometimes she So the first album came out, I think in like what 2005. That's what Apple says.
Actually, no, that was no. You're right. Moments like this was 2005. How about that? Oh,
Yeah, I listened to both albums, but I'm gonna be honest. The Moments one is my favorite one.
you know what? I have heard that a few times, and that's understandable.
Okay, so why is that understandable? Because you wrote it, so.
Yes, well, because I was in a different space, a different place. And it came from a different place. So the first one was all me. It was no. Let me correct that. When I say it came from songs that I had, that I started, from ideas that I had, that I shared, that were eventually co-written to get the song complete. But the second project, I wanted to demonstrate versatility. So I welcomed more co-writes. The songs were written by other people. So I was trying to demonstrate just some versatility. So that makes sense because I was more what do you call it? I was more my unapologetic self in the first CD than the second.
So you said you actually had co-writers.
I did.
Is that the only project you've done that for? Or
Well, those are my only two projects. So yes.
what's it like working with a co-writer? Because I know like when a person has music, it's normally their vision and what they want to say. So the other person who's writing it has to kind of like interpret what you want to say and how you want to feel. So what's it like having a co-writer?
Actually, for me, the experience has always been it's always been cool for me. It's been great. And I say that because I'm a vibe person, I'm a spirit person, and it's important to me to develop some sort of a rapport with a person with whom I'm working. Because I feel like it makes it better for the music. It makes it better for the project, for the product itself. You get the authentic individuals.
I'm gonna talk about like I said, the whole project was great, but there was three songs that caught my ears, and I want to talk about those. So the first one is actually the lead track. It's called "You Better Not Hurt Me."
Wow. Oh, wow. Okay. That's so funny. Now you're bringing back a huge memory because that song started from Angie Stone. She actually, when I brought my ideas to James Poyser, um, and he calls me C Note. He said, C Note, listen, I got something I want you to hear. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. So I listened to what she had written, and she wrote the first verse and the hook, and I loved it. And then I just finished it.
Oh, so is
So
that so that you wrote that song by yourself?
no. Actually, that was my mistake in saying because Angie Stone first, she started the song. So that was a co-write. That came from Angie Stone.
Oh, okay. So
Hmm.
okay, so she wrote like the first verse, and then you
Hmm.
liked it, and then you finished it.
Yes,
Okay.
that is exactly what happened. And then we were talking, and I said, you know what? We need a guy on here. We need a guy just to call, to blah 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 blah, to make it better. I said, wait, is Tariq around? Is he around? Because at that time, the Roots were right next to Axis. Both studios were right next. There was a door separating both studios, and he just so happened to be in. They were in there working, so he popped in and did that real quick.
Oh, okay, yeah. But he was on the other song, I thought.
He was on was it to talk about it? No, was he on You Better Not Hurt Me? Look at me, I don't
No,
know.
he was. It's funny because the track listing, I see why you did it because the song he was on the second one.
Look at me, I'm all mixed up. I don't know my
Hey,
own
look,
project.
that was 15 years ago. It's
You
okay.
ain't never lied. I can't remember last week.
it's
Wait.
only it's only fresh because I listened to it the last couple of days.
Oh, I am so confused. That is so crazy. I should have listened to my own project. Hold on. You Better Not Hurt Me. I did write. No, Angie wrote the one that Tariq is on.
Oh, you know what's funny? It kind of, now that you say that, it kind of sounds like her style.
I sound crazy. I'm sitting here. I was like, wait.
Oh,
That's
look,
so
like I
funny.
said, it's cool.
It's so funny.
Look, I'm happy that you didn't make me prep and all that stuff. So I was like, you know what? We could just go with it. The only reason I brought out the track listing is because somebody's gonna go back and listen to the song.
Well,
So,
praise God. Praise God. I appreciate that. I
I
sure
mean,
do.
look, let's just be honest. They're gonna listen to the podcast. They're gonna go back and listen to the song, and they're gonna be waiting to hear him speak. And it's gonna be like, wait a minute,
Wait. Where was he? Well, he ain't in
right?
there, right? No, you're right. You're right. So I appreciate you for correcting me on that. And I should know. I should know better.
You've done a lot of great work, and it's been 15 years. Like I said, I went
Thank you.
and listened to it. I listened to it today and yesterday, so that's why it's fresh on my mind.
Oh wow! Thank you. Thank you. No, really, thank you. That means a lot.
Was it a hard song to write?
No. As a human being, and you go through life, you go through ups and downs. No. It wasn't a hard song to write. But for me, I'm such a I'm one of those creatives that relives the moment every time I sing it or think it or what have you. So every time I sing these songs, I relive a moment.
What moment did you have to relive with that song?
A bad relationship.
Oh.
A very bad relationship. But I sometimes write, sometimes the stories I write are not my own. Sometimes they're from, experiences of close friends or family members that they've shared with me. But I always say, I promise you, I think I'm an empath sometimes at the risk of sounding crazy, because you could tell me something and I will feel so deeply what you're saying to me as if it's my own experience. And that was how that came about.
Do you ever tell people, like, if you heard their situation and you say, you know what, I'm gonna write a song about it? Do you ever tell them that their situation inspired that song?
No, I never have.
Why not? They should get songwriters credit.
They should. They should. You are so right. They should. Look at you checking me. Uh-oh.
And then you followed that song up with another song. It was called Better Me.
Oh, so I call A Better Me my own personal testimony. So A Better Me came from an experience of mine. I was talking about somebody in a negative way, and my spirit was so vexed after that happened, because I had planted a negative seed, and I didn't like the way it felt. I didn't like the way I felt, and I didn't like what I had done, because I was speaking with with someone, and this person did not know the person of whom I was sharing the story and casting this negative light upon. And because of that, I felt like I had just tainted what would have been that person's initial experience with that other individual, and that didn't feel good at all. I was embarrassed. And so that was just a moment of me checking myself when I wrote A Better Me, because I that's not who I am, and that's not who I want to be, and it's certainly not who I was raised to be.
Once the song was released, did you actually feel better that you got that out?
Oh, absolutely. But I went to the person, not the person that I talked about, but the person that I actually planted the seed with. I went to that person, and I needed to have a conversation about that.
Okay. And then it was one of the last songs, "Believe in Me."
Oh my Lord. I was oh, when I remember when that song came to me. I was at home, and so what happened was we were working on the project, and James was so busy at the time. He was doing so much, and he said, "See, no, we have to, put a halt to recording, and I don't know when we'll be able to start again." And on this particular day, I think 2 or 3 weeks had gone by since the last time we recorded, and I was at home. I was doing laundry, and I had my little mint julep mask on my face, and I had my little green mask on, and I just started crying. I just I just started crying, and and praying. Like I was just talking to God, like just talking, and that was what came from that. God said, just be still, just relax, just be patient, and appreciate the still. And from that was from where that came.
You mentioned that time period was like that, what you wasn't in a good space, but I've said, and like you said, the other people have said, that was probably your best work. So how does it make you feel that it took you being in like a bad space to create your best work?
I think that's a wonderful thing. I think because it was therapy for me, um that's actually, it doesn't bother me, because that means to me that you know it's serving its purpose. I'm not the only one that's feeling it. It was therapy for me, but that means that other people are feeling it as well and can relate. So, and that's what we want, as a creative. We want someone else to be able to relate to it.
When you recorded the second album, what kind of space was you in?
Oh, I was happy. I was so like I was up. I was happy. I was and that was crazy because so it's so funny how life is, because when I recorded that project, I was in such an up space, emotionally, mentally, everything was good, and then everything crashed right after I finished the project.
Oh, oh wow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you never, but you never did a. Was there a reason you never followed up after that album?
It was such a crazy experience for me when I released that project. Like I said, life turned upside down completely, and I needed to regroup, and I needed to do some healing.
Okay. What,
Mhm.
do you ever anticipate getting back in the studio or?
I do anticipate it. And it's interesting you would ask me that, because it wasn't until the more recent past that I actually felt like recording another project of my own. I've I enjoy features and doing and supporting like my friends in the industry. I enjoy that so much, but it really, really, really wasn't until the more recent past when I felt like doing my own project again.
We mentioned that you actually are a songwriter, and people you've had co-writers. Do you actually co-write or actually write songs for others?
I do. I do. Again, I had not I haven't been as active in the past few years. So what happened, I lost both of my parents. I lost my father in 2014, and then lost my mother in 2018.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
And
that.
thank you. And for those who are animal lovers, I had a fur baby of 14 years, and I lost him in between losing my parents. So I was just lost. It was just me and my parents and my fur baby, and then I lost all of them. So
Mm.
and I was a caregiver to both of my parents. So um I just wasn't in, I couldn't get myself together to share my pain, number one, or to work through it and record a project because it was just all too painful. So I wasn't writing as much. I wasn't writing really. I wasn't writing. I did small projects. Well, actually, one of the projects I did was with Jazzy Jeff and Jeff Bradshaw. We did the theme song for The Quiet Storm for Adimu for WDAS FM.
That's in Philly?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I meant to say that. I should have said that. So for one of our local radio stations, 105.3 WDAS FM, we had one of our beloved Tony Brown. He was the host of The Quiet Storm. It comes on at 7 p.m. during the weekdays, and he had fallen ill. And in his, in the time where he had gone to recover, it was decided by the station to have someone come in the interim, and we did the theme song for the new Quiet Storm show. That was actually the start of me getting back into everything.
So that was like the launching point for you to actually, after your parents' death, that was like the launching point for you to kind of make a comeback.
It was.
I'm sure your parents would be happy, like, that you picked up, because I'm sure they know how passionate and how much you love your music. So I'm sure they would be glad that you was able to restart.
I believe so. I do, because they were both such huge supporters. They came to everything that they could. So they were both huge supporters. I'm sure they would be happy to know that. I don't doubt that they do know, because I promise you, my mother's in my ear.
Oh yeah, I lost my father, and it's they never go anywhere. It's those memories and those moments that you hold on to. So
it is.
I totally
it truly
understand
is.
what you're saying. Now, being from Philly, how would you? Philly is known for having a lot of great musicians, like, over the years. It's one of the best music scenes in the country. But how would you personally describe the music scene in Philly?
Oh, I like to consider it an eclectic mix, because we have a little bit of everything in Philly. I feel like at one point in time, we were heavy in R&B and classic soul, and now I feel like in today's market, Philly is like a patchwork quilt, I will say, with different patches, but strong patches. We've got some really cool pockets in Philly.
How did it influence you personally? Like, who were your biggest influences?
And this is going to sound so cliche, but Gamble and Huff, Phyllis Hyman, if you're talking locally, oh, absolutely. Gamble and Huff and Phyllis Hyman. The Gamble and Huff, because of their songwriting and the stories that they told. I mean, you felt their stories. I don't care who sang the song. You felt the story, almost as if you had lived it yourself. And with Phyllis, oh my, I don't care what she sang. It just sounded so heavenly, that tone, that richness, and and her personality. She just had so much. She was such an animated, individual. When she sang, she was so, like, confident, so strong. So, you looked at Phyllis and you just thought, I am woman, when she sang. And I loved that. It
was, but the thing that was so I can't even explain it with Phyllis Hyman. Like, she has one of the most beautiful voices you ever hear, but she was going through so much pain, which eventually end up overtaking her. But that's just like the craziest thing, like, just how beautiful her voice was, like her presence, everything. But she was just going through so much.
But and I agree wholeheartedly. I saw her actually shortly before she received her wings, and I will never forget that. I saw her at the Apollo in New York. She and the Whispers were there that night, and she was in a good space. She was happy, and we were chit chatting, and B. Smith had sent her a plate, and I
Mm.
said, I've never seen not one other person. Well, at that point I had not, but I did later years. But at that point, I said I have never seen a vocalist eat a full plate of food and go out and she. When I tell you, Phyllis ate that macaroni and cheese. She ate that. I said, and I was watching in awe because she was laying on the sofa and she had this huge plate that B. Smith sent to her, and she went out there and killed. I said, how does she do that? How does she do that? But I do miss Phyllis. I do miss her.
Is it common? Is it like a things performers do before before they go on stage? Like, because you mentioned you never seen someone eat, so is it common not to eat?
Well, I don't. I know of other vocalists who don't as well because you listen. Okay, so the understanding that I have is that we are all vessels. Okay, so but I need to take care of this vessel to allow for what God needs to happen to do
Yeah.
so. So if I have a full plate of food, negative. You will hear every bit of whatever it is that I ate, and I know a few other vocalists who feel the same way. I like for, as I call it, I like for my pipes to be clean, because you create challenges for yourself. Well, let me speak about me. I have created challenges for myself when I've eaten before a performance. So I have not done that in years. I don't do it. If I have anything, then it would be like a vegetable, something with no oil, no cheese, no like no cream,
Oh,
nothing.
something pretty light.
Something light with practically nothing on it. So just so that I don't create any unnecessary challenges.
I've heard you mention, because I've listened to your podcast, and we're gonna get more into it in a minute, but
Okay.
you had a great episode with a gentleman named, I hope I pronounce it right, Gerald Veasley. Is that how you
Yes.
pronounce it? That
Yes.
was that was a great podcast. I think anybody who loves music, like has a genuine love for music, should listen to that podcast. I thought it was an excellent episode.
Thank you. Thank you so much. He is such an amazing human being. I mean, as a human being and as an instrumentalist, as a musician, he is such, I call him an alien. I think he's an alien.
And you two were he you it was great that you were asking him the questions, but for the purpose of my podcast, I wanted to get your perspective on it. You were talking about music as a way to show your gifts, and I wanted you to elaborate more on that.
Oh, absolutely. Because I believe we are all given a gift. And, music, we're all, some are given multiple. Most people have multiple gifts. And I believe that, we can sometimes take them for granted. We take our gifts for granted. And, excuse me. And I think it's so like when I talk about, when people ask me my opinion about performing as well, I say, because it's a gift, I feel so good when I get to receive from it as well. It's not coming from me. i'm I am the vessel. I am merely the vessel. That's all that I am, and God is using me to tell the story, to share the spirit, or whatever his purpose may be in that moment. But I get ministered to as well, and that's the beauty in it, that your own gift ministers to you because it doesn't come from you. You're just being used in that moment.
Definitely. And then you talked about, while you're on that stage, performers, they usually get so wrapped up in their music, they'll actually transport into another place. So I wanted you to describe what that feeling is like.
I don't even know how. It is so euphoric for me it's like if it's like the sweetest feeling. It's like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like it is the perfect storm when you are on a stage with like-minded individuals, or when your spirits are locked in that moment, when everybody is vibing and is being moved by each other's gifts. The feeling is incomparable to anything, I tell you, because you have no control in that moment. And but that's the beauty in it. The beauty in it is that you don't, none of us at that time, at that moment, when we all allow ourselves to be open and allow our gifts to do what they do, none of us have control in that moment. And that it actually feels so good. As a human being, I know we like to control things, but in that moment, it just feels so good.
I'm sure a brother like me can't sing, so I don't have no earthly idea what's going, what that's going to be like. You've been all around the world. You've performed so many places. Do you have a favorite city and a favorite venue you like to perform at?
Oh my god. Well, actually, I do. I have a few. I love Amsterdam. Well, how about this? Okay, NJ Pack in New Jersey. Just Amsterdam. I cannot remember the name of the venue right now. It's leaving me. And London, in Shepherd's Bush. And Paris. I love the Elysée Montmartre.
That just sounds like a great place.
I love France though. I could probably live there.
Really?
Yes, I love France. I would either live in Paris or Belgium, either one of the two.
What's it like performing in a foreign country? Because they don't speak English, right? Or
Well, it doesn't even matter. And that's, what's so funny. So I sang with Les Nubians. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but I sang background for them.
I've heard of
And
them. I've heard
okay, and their songs are in French, Portuguese, uh there were three or four languages that their music is in. And um I had to, of course, have what I was singing translated before I decided to actually do the gig. But it's like, wait, what are we saying? What are we talking about? But it didn't matter. It didn't, the same as it doesn't matter, for us when we heard Makeda, when we heard their song Makeda, we didn't know if it was a name, if it was an object, or what. We just liked the music because that's what spoke to us. And the same, I always say when people say music is a universal language, it really, really, really is, because it speaks to your spirit. If it moves you, you don't, half of us don't know what we're saying half of the time. We don't know what's going on, but it feels so good that you wound up asking later, wait, what did we say right there? What did I say? Who did she say?
Yeah.
You had that moment where you heard a song where you were just so into it, like, yo, this right here, and then somebody says, what did they say at that part? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm getting better. Like I tell my friends all the time, I used to be like heavy into production. Like if the beat was good, then I was all ears. But now, probably because I'm getting older, I'm listening more to what people saying.
Yeah.
Especially like, so okay, so let me explain it this way. I care more what like neo soul and R&B singers saying, if that makes sense, because I know it's some substance there. Whereas I listen to rap, I like rap, but I kind of know they're gonna be saying the same thing.
You know what? You know what's so funny? Because I love hip hop. I love rap and hip hop, but I don't want to know what they're saying, because I'm 9 times out of 10, I'm sure I'm not going to agree with it. I'm not going to agree with it at all.
I know. I've had that moment where you actually listen to what they say, and it just make you don't want to listen to the song
It's like,
at all.
no, I don't want to like this. I don't want to like this, you know. So
But you
yeah,
can't help it.
that I that's what I'm saying, you know, when the music gets you, you know, I remember being on stages in other countries and people were singing along and it wasn't their native tongue, but the music felt so good. So that's that right there. That is euphoric. That feeling right there is like no other.
Do you prefer like bigger venues, smaller venues?
I love all venues, let me just be clear. but but especially right now since I can't get in one.
Oh God.
but but I actually I prefer the smaller venues. I love the intimacy. You know, I love being able to walk into the audience and just be close, and you know, I love that.
Is there a perfect number you like?
With regard to capacity,
Yeah.
no, actually, no. I will. Oh, you know what? Oh, where there was a venue in Phoenix, Arizona. I do not remember the name of the venue, but the stage was in the round, but um, the seats were so close. It was a nice intimate venue, but it was like the perfect venue to me because although the stage was in the round, it was close to the floor.
Hmm.
So you could go in any direction and just be close to the audience, and it, it was awesome. It was awesome.
I will say from a fan standpoint, the intimate video, of course, is much better. I'll give you an example. Me and my wife, we went to what's the place? We went to Blues Alley. So that's
Ooh,
in DC.
yes,
Oh, you've been in?
I've performed there a few times. Yes, I love
So
Blues Alley.
I love blues. I love the venue, right? But
Mhm.
big guy, my shoulders wide, and that place is tight.
It is. It
Like,
is very tight. Well, I like it a little bigger than just a. I love the intimacy of Blues Alley. I love that, but just a tad bit bigger, just a little bigger.
I think the perfect venue that I've been to is City Winery.
Oh, hands down. Oh yeah,
Have you
yeah.
performed there?
I have. I
Which one?
have. The one in DC, the one in
Yeah,
Philly. Yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness.
because
Uh,
it's like it's space. Like you can move around, but it's small.
mhm.
Like
Mhm.
it's really small. It's like it's a perfect venue. It's like it's the state like they're right in front of you. You can see them. You can see the performer very well. The sound is really good. I went to
Mhm.
see. I've only been there. Me and my wife went once, and we went to see Kanye Dolls.
Oh,
She's
I love Kanya.
yeah, she's like my wife thinks I'm crazy, but she's like my favorite singer. Like,
No, Kanye. Listen, Kanye is the truth.
oh yeah, look,
Oh
I
yeah,
love her.
Kanye
Like
is the
I've read,
truth.
she signed my. We went. She stayed afterwards. She signed my CD. I took a picture, so I was happy. The
And she's
money I
such a
spent,
beautiful spirit. She's so
yeah,
oh.
she was real nice. And then of course my favorite is Jill Scott. She's my that's the only celebrity crush I'm allowed to have.
Oh, that is so funny. Well, at least no, at least you're allowed to have a celebrity crush. I mean,
That's the
you know,
only
some
one. That's the
listen,
only one.
hey, but some people aren't allowed to have any, so you know.
That's because I think my wife only allows it because they favor each other. So it's kind of like, all right, well, she's not too far off the path. So, but I
That is
saw
so
her.
funny.
She's somebody that I wanted to see in a smaller venue. She does like
Oh yeah.
she's done because I've seen her about 3 times. I saw her at the Lyric, that's in Baltimore. Um, I saw at the Lyric. I saw her at this Meriwether. That's in Maryland.
Oh
All these
yeah.
places are like,
Meriwether
oh,
Pavilion. Hmm.
yeah. Well, yeah, you're from Philly, so you probably know
Yeah.
all these
I
places.
performed there too. Yeah.
At the Meriwether,
Hmm.
how'd you like it?
it. It was pretty cool. I liked it. But see, let me tell you something. I feel like everybody in the DMV is family. So whenever I have a performance anywhere in the DMV, it's like everybody, they show love. They come out. So it just feels so good.
Yeah, the Meriwether is nice. I mean, you know it's hit or miss because the weather could be
Hmm.
the
I
weather can
well,
throw things off.
I
But
was there twice, I think it was, and fortunately, by the grace of God, we had good weather days. The second time, the last time I should say, which was the second time, we had a threat of rain, but it didn't come, so I lucked
yeah,
out.
it's hit or miss. But she's an amazing performer. Like
Oh yeah.
I love seeing her live. I've she's the only person I've seen 3 times, and if I get an opportunity, I'm gonna see her 4. So
I know that's right. I know that's right. As you should. But you know what? I said because I think the best performers are people who are their genuine selves, where there are no smoke and mirrors. They just do what they do. They just, they are themselves. And I think that's what, because I feel that is what translates the best and the most. So you always want to see genuine. You want to feel genuine. You don't want.
she
Everybody
did.
loves real.
Yeah, she did something. I was kind of upset because me and my wife that we were at the Meriwether,
Okay.
so we thought the show was over. Um, I want to say it was. I believe the Go Go Band was Chuck. Yeah, Chuck Brown was there.
Okay.
This was like right
Chuck Brown
before.
experience.
Yeah, like right before this was like couple years before he passed. So
Oh
Jill Scott
yeah.
was the closing act.
Okay.
So she says thank you. The standard good night, we love you, and all this stuff. I don't think the lights went off, but she said thank you, good night. So we thinking it's over. So we walk into the car, and then we hear her fire back up. Her and Chuck Brown. I'm like, man.
Oh, you got mad at her? You
Kinda.
there was some hesitation. Wait, you said, wait, she was supposed to tell you. She was supposed to let you know.
I was like, because it's like, wait a minute, you told us good night. Like, what you doing? But I mean, look, she gave she gave an amazing performance. She was up there for a long time, so it wasn't that. It was just, oh man, when you say good night, I learned my lesson. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I
look,
was.
tell them lights go off.
Okay, okay. Come on, James. Not till
Didn't
the lights go.
I was a rookie concert goer at the time, so I didn't know. I thought when they said good night, it meant good night, but the lights were still on. So I said, okay, so now
Mm-mm.
I know we have to wait for the lights to go off,
That's right. That's right.
and that means the performance is over. So
That's too funny.
I'm gonna talk about your podcast again because we kind of spoke on it, but now I want to go more in depth. The
Okay.
podcast is actually it's an amazing podcast, and it's called Conversations Inside the Music. What made you start it?
Wow. First of all, thank you for that compliment. I really and truly do appreciate that. I I wanted I had the desire to do a podcast because I was thinking about I always stay in my cave. I've always felt like I was, the oddball in every situation. I really like one of these kids, I am she. Okay. And I have always felt like that kid. And excuse me. And I thought about doing a podcast. I said, this is something that I want to do, but then I talked myself out of it. Like I went all in with all my ideas and how I wanted it to be and everything. And then I completely talked myself out of it. And I kept hearing it. Friends of mine kept saying, you should do a podcast. You should do it. And it just came at one point like, wait, what? Did you, how did you know I was thinking about that? But the idea came because I thought, I have a lot of great, I have a lot of great relationships and with individuals in the industry, and we talk about life when we're just talking with one another. We just talk about life. We don't talk about you know what we do or work. I hate to call it work because it is such a gift, but we don't talk about what we do.
Mhm.
We just talk about life, like, hey, how the kids are, how, everybody knows that Chloe is my fur child. I don't have any human children. So everybody says, well, how's Chloe? So we talk about everything that we don't post on social media. And, so I thought it would be a good idea to just share some intimate conversations, just talk about some things. And that was from where the idea came.
Do you have do you ever be apprehensive about reaching out to people to be on a podcast or?
Absolutely. Because wait, first of all, I am that person that I don't really reach out. I'm always in my bubble, in my cave. And when I talked myself out of it twice before I started doing it. And then the day that I started making phone calls, I said, okay, so all right, I'm going to start a podcast and blah, 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 blah. And everybody said, oh, cool. All right. So you want to do it now? And I was like, wait, no. I was just calling to see if you would do it, But everybody said, well, you don't call me. So I thought,
They thought they thought they were your first guest, huh?
right. Yes. So it's like, oh, so I am extremely, extremely grateful that, they are all obliging me.
Yeah, because it's like I've listened to two so far. I think you got have what, five? Am I right?
Yes.
I know most of the guest list. Of course I had to listen to the one with Jill Scott. That
Yeah.
was that was that wasn't even an option. So when I looked when I saw the playlist, I was like, wait a minute, hold on, she got Jill Scott, 19 minutes? That's enough for me. I'll listen.
Yeah. You know what? It was funny because we talked longer, but that was what I kept because we actually she was walking around, she was moving around. So we were having like some connection issues, but we were just chitting and chatting, and the rest of the conversation was us kikiing. And I said, okay, I can't. We were just kikiing too much. So I said,
It
okay.
was actually some interesting conversation that came out of it, just like her responses. I'm not gonna go too much into it because this podcast is about you, but
Okay.
it was interesting. Like, I thought you did a great job. Just
Thank you.
the questions. I mean, because you could tell that you guys have a great rapport, but sometimes it's hard. It just being a podcaster myself. Sometimes it's hard when you know a person, because I could tell you guys know each other. You have a relationship. So sometimes it's hard to make that conversation come across genuine on a podcast.
That makes sense. That makes so much sense. And I did think about that. I did. I thought about that because I said, like I said, she and I are used to kikiing and talking about, everything and absolutely nothing. And I wanted the podcast to be interesting, of interest to those who would listen. So that was a thought that occurred to me. Like,
And
okay.
let's be clear, it was interesting. It was definitely interesting. I was just saying I framed it that way because I know how it can be when you know a person, you know them, you kind of like know how they're going to answer the question,
Mm-hmm.
but
What
you
she
have
look
to take yourself out of it.
she wait. I had to laugh because she caught me off guard when she was talking about what she was cooking. And I said, come again? I said, wait, what now? What is that? What are you making?
Yeah, well, look, I'm a fan, but I'm not that much of a fan. When she's talked about what she was cooking, I was like, well, nah, I'm not that much of a fan.
She caught me off guard because we never ate that on the road. It's like, wait, what is that? Now, what, come again? Now, tell me what
Yeah,
that
was a weird dish.
Yeah. And she made me laugh.
We're not even going to discuss the dish. I want the listeners to go check the podcast. They'll listen to it for themselves. But the one with Gerald, that one again, I talk about that one because that one was special because you rarely get the opportunity to hear two people having a conversation about something they're both passionate about. You know what I mean?
I agree with that. I felt honestly, again, I cannot stress enough just how special a human being he is. Gerald is like family to me. And he and not just him though. Him, his wife, his kids, his two daughters. They're all family to me. And like I was saying, when you see him perform, he transforms. He really does. He plays, I mean, his choices are amazing and incredible. And you as you watch him, you say, how is where what they're like you don't understand from from where this is coming. But then you talk to him and he's such a centered and mild mannered human being. It's really like I love the conversations we have because I always feel like he leaves me with a gem, some gem of information that I will keep forever.
Yeah.
He's always.
He definitely was a bro, like not was because he's still alive, thank God.
Mhm.
He's a very brilliant man. Like I listened to that podcast, I was very interested. Just his stories about stage and
Mm.
Grover Washington, right? Grover Washington.
Yes, he talked about Grover Washington Jr. He talked about Hugh Masekela. He talked about, I mean, there was so much that he shared
Yeah, he
that
shared a lot. He
he
took you to a different
did.
space listening to it. It was
He
really good.
did.
And you
I
did a great
appreciate
job
it.
letting him tell a story.
Thank you. I listen. I told you I love receiving. Whenever I talk with Gerald, there's always something. There is always something. Like I said to him, I was trying to put together. I was doing a little research prior to, and I know the family, but then I was reading, and I said, wait a minute, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So so it shifted my entire thought process prior to interviewing him. I wanted to know more about the stuff I had read,
Yeah,
and the story that he shared about Grover Washington Jr. gave me, it just gave me so much warmth because I did not, I did not know Grover. I did not know Grover well, and that I thought that story was phenomenal,
that was an amazing story.
right?
Just the
I
fact
thought
that he had enough humility to listen to everybody's work.
everybody's, I can tell you, and I felt so badly. Gerald and I talked about it later. I felt so badly. We even said so when we were talking in that conversation about how after a show, so after we've had sound check, after we've had the show, possibly a 2-hour show, and then have done a meet and greet, the last thing we want to do, okay, the last thing. And I'm going to be honest because I would usually be the first person on the bus. So I would take the last thing you want to do is actually listen to some more music because you're trying to regroup at that point and come down. Like, your adrenaline is really pumping and you're trying to, get ready to come down. And he would listen to everybody's. I that right there, oh my goodness. But that taught me something. That
Yeah.
taught me something about humility.
Is there someone that you came to realize heard your music and you was like, wow, I can't believe they're familiar with my work?
Well, yes. Oh my goodness. So, well, two people actually. Prince was one of them,
Wow.
and the Obamas. So I was a feature on Anthony Hamilton's song "Float," and when my forever president Barack Obama said, when he talked about his favorites, that the playlist that he was listening to at that time, Float was on it. So I said, oh, so it was not it was not my song, it was Anthony's, but he was familiar with my voice because I'm on the song Float. I'm on Anthony Hamilton's song Float.
Now I have to go back and listen to it.
Okay.
Because
Let
I
me.
like his music. I think he has a great, like he has one of the most unique voices. Like,
Doesn't he?
yeah,
Mm.
it's something when you can, like, when you could turn on a person's song and like, okay, that's such and such. Like he
It.
has that voice.
He does it so distinct. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I had fun doing that song. It was.
Did you
I had
help
so much.
write it or?
No, 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 no. It was another. It was another one of those. I was at the studio working that night, and he was in the. And he was in the A room. I was in the B room, and he was working with Junius Burbine, um, and they asked me to be on this song. I was like, yeah, sure. So he
Have you
had his
seen his
idea.
Tiny Desk?
I have not.
You
Oh,
gotta
that's
watch
it.
it.
I do. I do. You're right about that.
It's one of the better ones. Him. You first of all, do you watch Tiny Desk?
I will not say that I watch it regularly, but I have seen a few people's Tiny Desk episodes. So yes, the short answer is yes.
It's if you if you get a minute, look, we locked down, so we got time. One day you should just go through, just look up YouTube and just look up Tiny Desk. There's some really good performers on there.
Oh, I just
I'll tell you
watched
the
Snow
standard.
Allegra. I
I
watched
tell
Snow
you,
Allegra, and I love her.
who is it?
Snow Allegra.
I'm not familiar with her.
Oh my goodness, she has the song "I Want You Around."
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I didn't know her name, but I know that song though. You
Well, I
got.
don't know. Some people may say Snow Allegra. I'm not sure, but yeah, I
I
don't
listen
know.
to a lot of Heart and Soul, but sometimes I don't get to see who the artist was.
Okay, okay.
And now that I'm not in the car as much, it's you know that's the only way you know who sang the song. Is
Listen, I always tell everybody the car is the office. The car is, you do everything in the car.
yeah,
So now,
you
yeah,
do.
life.
You got to check out the Tiny Desk. I'm trying to think of that group. It's oh man, um, I want to say their name is the Shifters.
Shifters, huh?
Wait a minute, I got my phone right here. Hold on. Because one day, you know how YouTube just keeps rolling, and I was like, well, me and my wife was watching something, and it just kept playing, and then one day I was like, oh, I couldn't find a remote, so I had to watch it. So I was like, you know what, that's their name, the Sufferers.
Oh wait, the Sufferers, huh?
Yeah, they have a really
Ah.
good one. Them, the internet. You heard of the internet, right?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
I love the internet.
Okay, just making sure. All of them was on Tiny. I've never heard of them until Tiny Desk. So
I had to wait. I had to send myself a message. The Sufferers, because
yeah,
you planted the seed. I would have been listening or looking for the shifters.
I know. Yeah, let me plant the seed again. It's called the Sufferers. The Sufferers.
I just texted myself.
You'd have been looking forever. No,
Yes,
it's the Sufferers.
the Sufferers.
Now I'm gonna close out my interview with the way you close out yours. You always ask who's on your radar. So I'm gonna ask you, who's on your radar?
Oh my goodness. You did not. Oh my goodness. You know what what's so funny is that because I've been doing these interviews, I have people now that I've been listening to because everybody has told me who's on their radar. So now I'm checking people out and they are now on my radar. Everybody that there were 3 people that the Baylors recommended. Jameson Ross was one of them. And I'm familiar with Jameson. I love Jameson Ross. So I will say I'm still stuck on Jameson right now, but I've been listening to all of the people that my guests have recommended, and I'm stuck on Jameson right now. Jameson Ross. Oh, I don't know, are you familiar?
I'm not with Jameson Ross. I'm not.
Oh, heavens to Murgatroyd. Okay, listen. Listen. So he has 2 projects. I suggest you start with the first one.
It's a guy, right? It's like
Yes,
Jameson
yes.
Ross. I'm gonna put it on my
Jameson
phone now.
Ross. Oh, Jameson Ross. Oh, I love his music. We did a show together in Maryland at Bethesda. He and I, and it was, I was in heaven because I got to hear him.
Oh, he performed. He performed in Bethesda.
He did. He did.
Oh, I think I know what club you're talking about, but
Hmm.
I haven't been there in a while and I can't remember it. You
We
serve
were
food
there.
and stuff, right?
They do. They sure do. Yep, it's a supper club. Do they say
Wait,
that?
that's what it's called, right?
It,
No, no,
I,
no, 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 no. That's not what it's called.
no, Bethesda Blues and
But yeah, Bethesda Blue Jazz. Actually, you know
Jazz.
what's crazy? They got two of them.
Do they?
Yeah, it's like, well, I think one of them is they're like very close. They're not like they're. I believe they have two different venues, like within 5 miles. But I could be wrong. I haven't been home in a while, and I'm starting to forget about home.
Well, listen, I feel better because I forgot my first project. So I should not say that. I forgot the order of the songs on my first project.
That's all right. I'm gonna put somebody else on your radar.
Okay.
Her name is Jasmine Battle.
Jasmine Battle. Okay, wait, let me text that to myself. Wait.
Her album comes out. Her single is available, but her album comes out on August the 8th. She has an amazing voice. We did a podcast together, and she actually did something nobody's done on my podcast. She actually sang live. So
Yes.
yeah,
Oh, I
just to let
love
the folks
it.
know she really could sing. So
I know that's right. I know that's right.
I
I
wasn't
love it.
expecting that. So, but she's an amazing. She has an amazing voice. So if you get a chance, check her out.
I will do so. I most certainly will do so. I love it. I love being exposed to new projects and new music and new artists. I love it.
Yeah. I want to take this time to thank. It's truly been an honor and a pleasure talking with you. This has been a great experience for me, and it's been a great. I really appreciate you carving out the time to do this.
No, are you kidding me? I appreciate the invitation. This is cool. This is really cool. It's
Hey,
really cool.
well, hopefully one time we'll get to do it again. It'll definitely be a pleasure.
No, no, no. We're going to claim that. We're going to own it. So
Oh,
when we do it again, that's what
okay. Well, look, we're gonna do it
yeah,
again.
we're going to
Yeah.
do it again. Come on
Look, I
now.
will volunteer for your platform, but nah. your
What do you
platform, your platform for real musicians.
No, 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 no. As a matter of fact, so the podcast itself, so the way I position it is that it's conversations with those who have a connection to the music industry. So you could be a writer, you could be a tech, you could be anyone who has a connection because the conversations are real. It's not just about music. I mean, and I should say that too because I haven't really talked a lot about the substance of the podcast. It just so happens that I started it with musicians, but because I wanted to garner some interest. But where it
Oh,
lies for me, the root of it is that these are real conversations. And this
oh,
is
okay.
this is with anybody who has a connection to the industry.
Oh, but
we're
see,
talking about.
I don't have a connection to the industry.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Oh, okay. Well, look. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and claim it there.
That's right.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and look. I'm gonna throw my hat in there. I would love to be on your show. I thought it's an excellent show. Like,
Thank you.
that's one of the first. That's one of the few podcasts. I'm like, okay. Like, I subscribe to a lot of them, but that was one I was like, okay, let me listen to the next one. And after I listened to the one with Gerald, I wanted to listen to the one with Jazzy Jeff, but I was like, all right, I got to get ready for my own podcast. And sometimes I don't want to listen to the person too much because then I may become like over consumed with them. So I was like, okay, I know what I want
Okay.
to talk to her. And like I formed our conversation off the one with Gerald because you guys were hitting on some great points. And I was like, okay, I would like to hear what she had to say about those. So I was like,
He's
okay,
in a
I got what I needed from Gerald. Thanks, Gerald.
and he just celebrated a birthday, a milestone birthday.
How old is he?
He's 65.
Tell that brother happy birthday.
Yes, I will. Isn't that amazing? That's
Yeah, that's a
amazing.
blessing. That
It
truly
is,
is.
that is a huge blessing. That's
I
a
hope
huge
he.
blessing.
I know it's the quarantine, but I hope he found the means to enjoy his birthday.
Well, actually, I talked with his daughter earlier today, and she said that they had a great time.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Let me make. Oh, I can't leave. I can't end it without people knowing how they could follow you.
Oh, okay. Well, I am on Instagram at Carol_Riddick. And also at Conversations Inside the Music. I'm on Facebook as well, carolriddick.vocalist, I think it is. I don't even know. That's sad. That's so sad. And Twitter, I'm on Carol_Riddick. But you can find me if you look for Carol Riddick. I'm not too hard to find, but
Nah.
Carol Riddick.
Again, thank you for joining me. It truly has been an honor and pleasure having this conversation with you.
Thank you for the opportunity to have it. I appreciate it. And please tell your wife I said thank you for the introduction.
I will. I'll make sure to tell her.
Okay. All right.
I want to thank everyone for supporting the podcast and listening. Thank you all. You have a great day.